18 months ago, I uploaded the first devlog for my first commercial game. Things went well, I was uploading and developing every month, until it all stopped on March 2021. The last devlog was uploaded 10 months ago, and since then I've tried to work on it, but my work has been uneventful. So I thought I would make this video to tell you why things have ended up like this, and what I'm going to be doing with the project. When I started Cardallion, I had just graduated from university, and during the midst of job searching I was wanting a big project to work on. I thought that a long-term project would be impressive to potential employers, especially if I got to the point of releasing it on Steam, but 4 months into development I acquired a full-time job. Of course that's amazing news, now I have financial income, and it's in the games industry too, which is perfect. But of course going from no job at all to a 9 to 5 full-time career is going to result in less time for Cardallion. I kept up with the development and uploading for a while also having some time to work on other videos, and it did work for me. Until it didn't. I had planned out the year where I'd release 1 to 2 videos every month, where it was 1 video for every month with a Cardallion video every other month on top of that. It was around April that this all started to fall apart. I originally had the collaboration video with Goodgis slated for April, but after some scheduling blockers it was pushed to May. Then after that I was planning for the Mashup Game Jam and started work on the next projects here and there. In July I was off on holiday and spending some downtime catching up on games and socialising. Getting the Mashup Game Jam results video ended up taking me much longer than I was expecting. Then the 5 years video, which I originally had slated for the end of September and thought was only going to take a week or two, ended up taking a whole 2 months to make. By the time I was ready to get back to Cardallion, I was way behind where I wanted to be, and as I got back to the project, I then became aware that time was not my only blocker. One thing I missed out on this game was a solid pre-production stage. A stage of research of similar games and genres, and prototyping out a vertical slice of the absolute basics of the game. One can argue that the first few devlogs were the pre-production, but when I came back to the project, the lack of pre-production really became annoyingly clear. It was like I had the idea of, this game has you place minions in rooms to defeat heroes trying to get to the boss, and then started developing from that, without acknowledging or finding a solution to fix the many problems that would come about from that. The biggest problem being the minion placement. Any minion you place on the front is bound to get more combat than one at the back. I wanted to have minion leveling, and this just caused an even bigger problem because it leaves your heavy hitters at the front, but if they die then basically you're left completely defenseless with some unleveled enemies towards the back. I did try manual leveling instead, but it felt like it conflicted a lot with the game in its feel to grow a minion army. I then thought of regenerating the minions at the end of each round, but then that defeats any real loss you actually have in the game. Tower defense games normally work with the towers being stationary, and the targets walking along a fixed path, but in this game, the towers are moving about all the time, and can easily block a path the targets walk along as there's no set path. So trying to make a game where I don't exactly know what's going on isn't an easy way to do it. Perseverance seems to be a trait that is very admired amongst game developers, but I suddenly was aware that I was falling into blind perseverance. I could have kept as I was going with development, adding in minions and heroes, adding in more to the gameplay, but with this massive fundamental flaw in the game, it would have been like driving a car with a faulty engine. Sure, you can still get to your destination, but the engine is going to cause a lot of problems that will make your journey so much more difficult. I have lots and lots of ideas for the future, but with this fundamental base, I couldn't really get anywhere without breaking everything. And the last reason has to be motivation. Don't get me wrong, I do like working on the game, but let me paint a picture. I work a full-time programming job every Monday to Friday. The only time for my personal game development is in the evenings, and that's if I don't have anything else on. Normally in the evenings, I feel quite drained from the day, and so what would I want to spend the last couple hours of my evening on? Trying to continue a game that has a lot of problems that will take hours and hours to solve? Or working on smaller side projects for separate videos, or just relaxing, playing some games. It's a bit obvious that my brain didn't pick the first choice often. It's easy for someone to say, just do little tasks every day, when they don't have a mountain of issues that need a long period of time to fix. Otherwise you won't remember what you were doing the next time you come to it. I also didn't want to look back on the year and be like, oh yeah, 2021 was the year I only did Cardallion videos. I wanted to look back on 2021 and be like, oh yeah, this is the year I did this video and that project, and that collab with whatchamacallit. I had a bit of a difficult period finding not only the time for Cardallion, but also the motivation to deal with a game like Cardallion, when I have so many other type of videos that I want to make too. So the big question that people are wanting to know the answer to from this video, by the way congrats on getting this far, is what is happening with Cardallion? Put it simply, I'm taking a different approach. I'm in a very different situation now than I was back when I started Cardallion, so to make this project a lot more manageable for myself, I need to change things up. So the main problem with the game that we've established is that the fundamental core gameplay of how the game will function and play isn't quite there. And before I do anything else with the game, I need to tackle that problem. So I'm going back to square one with a prototype. Ignoring the graphics and all the fancy stuff, the only thing I'm concerned about with this prototype is how it plays. I'm giving myself a few months to get this prototype together, and each month I will make a video about its progress. The prototype will include the absolute basics, so I can get a proper idea of what I'm trying to create, and if it will work or be any fun. I've already made a start, and it seems to be going well so far. Once I've reached the end of this little period, which I haven't actually given a deadline because I don't want to give myself that sort of pressure at the moment, I will have a big decision to make. I will either be really happy and content with the game and my development of it, and then I'll continue to develop it further with devlogs, while also leaving time for other videos and relaxation. Or I come to the conclusion that either the game doesn't work the way I wanted to, or it's too much for me to take on, and I release what I do have and call it there. I want to give Cardallion another chance, and I feel like this gives me enough time to really go for it, and see if it's what I want to be doing in this moment without discarding the whole project. I know there are going to be people who won't like the idea of me scrapping the game, but when it comes down to it, everyone has different lives to lead and ways they want to live them, and I need the time to see if this is what I want to be doing with my time outside of work. Because at the end of the day, if after these few months are up and I decide to drop the game, I can at least say that I made an effort, and I tried to make it work. But of course I'm talking hypothetically, because we're not at that stage yet, and at the moment I'm putting all of my effort into making the game fun and making it work and just fixing all the problems that there was before. So that's what I'm doing. To keep updated on the development, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate all the support that you have all given me with this series so far, regardless of no devlogs for such a long time. So I hope you also enjoy the next few videos, even if it is technically starting again. So thanks for watching everybody, and I'll see you soon.